So in this video, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about the Pilot Hi-Tecpoint. This is a vintage Hi-Tecpoint. It's not the modern one. The modern one is a lot like the Pilot Precise, which is it's a push button retractable pen, plastic, refillable. The Hi-Tecpoints have a sort of, they use like a cartridge. So, and they also have a capped design, which I really like. But back in the day, the Hi-Tecpoint was a twist retractable pen, all metal, higher end pen. And there's a few different versions of it. This one obviously has long stripes around down it. There's also one that has a grid pattern, which is more expensive, more rare. I would say generally more desirable than this one. But this is the one I have, so I wanted to talk about it. So as I understand it, which there's not a lot of information available about these pens, this Pilot Hi-Tecpoint is a predecessor to the current Hi-Tecpoint. Clearly, the pen has gone down market from this. This is a higher end, like executive style pen. That currently they don't sell an executive in the Hi-Tecpoint. They just have those push button and capped pens, which are it's something you would buy like $15 for a dozen or something like that. Whereas this is clearly different. So here's the pen, full metal. I think it's brushed stainless steel, but it's hard to say. Clearly, it's from Pilot. Hi-Tecpoint, spelled the same way in that kind of strange way, missing the H, as they do today. Made in Japan, as you could probably expect, it being made by Pilot. Metal clip with that cool cutout logo there, really nice. Well done clip. Very striking. I'd say this is a very good looking pen. At the top, you see that logo repeated. Nice callback to right here. So very cool there. A fixed front piece. So this is one piece. It looks like the nose cone might twist off, but it doesn't. It seems to be a single piece. I think they must be epoxied, or maybe this one's just locked up over time. But really nicely integrated there. Fully metal, of course. The stripes are machined out of the main piece, so that it's like they're not printed on, it's machined out, and then they were either painted in or filled with enamel, or it's hard to say how they did it, but it's really, really nicely done. So they have some grip to them. You can clearly feel that it was I don't know if it was etched out. It's a little sharp, so it probably wasn't etched out. Maybe it was machined out of there, hard to say. But really nicely done. This is sort of metal work that they just don't really do on pens anymore. They're just too expensive. There seems to be no market for it. You see machined pens with really nice metal work, but that's a sort of different category from Pilot, like a mainstream manufacturer. They just don't do pens like this anymore. If they do it, they'll do a knurling, like a Rotring, but that's really it. So the action is a twist action. You could see you would just give it a twist here and twist back. Nice action. I think it's probably suffered a little bit over time because there's a little bit of play in there that might not have been there at the time, but still works really well. I wish this was a push button. This pen as a push button would be incredibly cool, but that's just not what they made. It was always, as I understand it, this line was just a twist. And you'll see here the two sets of stripes. When it's twisted, they don't line up. But when you twist it to put the pen back, they lock in and they line up perfectly when the pen is in its resting state. Just like spot on. And when you extend the pen out and you push it back, just listen, you could just hear it. It clicks, it locks in place. So there's push, you could hear it click out. It locks, doesn't line up. I mean, I guess it kind of lines up with the end here, but it's not like, yeah, I guess it does line up. Then you turn it back, you hear it unlock, twist, twist, and locks again. It's just like really, really nice precision. You don't see that in today's pens, unfortunately. It's just not, it's just not really done except on very high-end pens and like the over $200 pen market. To refill the pen, you just push this piece off. So that, I would say, is a downside of this pen, is that this upper piece is actually a friction fit with the lower piece. So over time, friction fits tend to wear out, and you'll get some wobble or some play on this top piece, and it just isn't gonna work anymore. Because this piece is chromed, then you have a little bit of extra wear resistance, but it's not that this piece is gonna wear out. It's usually the interior piece, and that, it's hard to tell, but it's probably brass, and the brass is gonna be softer than this piece of nickel-plated steel. So it's the brass that wears out, and once that happens, there's really not too much you can do about that. You can try to put a piece of paper in there or something to create some friction, but realistically, it's just not gonna work, and the pen's just gonna be shot. So if you find one of these, and you could find it new old stock, if that's possible, that's good, but look for something in good condition, otherwise you might have some wobble to that cap, or the cap might just fall off, which is super annoying. Here we see that twist mechanism. It's this piece that twists, this one with the little ridges there. And as it twists, it extends this piece right here, which is really, really cool. Here's the action. So you open this piece up now. This one twists. This is just a kind of a slide piece. And then you would hold this here, and we can open up this little cap piece. This one's mission critical, so you don't want to lose this. Big spring in there, which is really nice to see. And the refill doesn't want to come out. That's because I have a modern refill in here instead of the older one, which is also a G2 refill, a Parker style G2 refill. And see if I could pop it out. No, oh, there you go. Nice. So what am I using here? I'm just using a Rotring Giant standard ISO G2 refill, and it still had a little bit of friction there. I don't know if they were smaller back in the day, or this Pilot had a specialized one, or maybe it's just, it's a little old, so there's some debris in there, who knows. But it's a Pilot G2 style refill. No, sorry, not a Pilot G2 style refill, a Parker style G2 refill. Just a standard ISO G2 refill. So put that back in there. And we have this piece and the spring, which I lost. Push that back in, and we're good to go. So that, I would say, is one of the really big perks of this pen, is that it uses a standard Parker style G2 refill, which is really nice. And it's a really big perk because you're in the high-tech line, which is now sort of become a rollerball type of pen that uses a Pilot G2 refill, the longer gel refills, or similar in the Precise VRT and the Precise V5, V7. Those ones use kind of, if they are refillable, they use a Pilot G2 style refill, not a Parker style. And put this piece in here, and there you go. We're good to go. And everything lines up nice, and everything works. So, I'll do a writing sample, but it doesn't include the original refill. When I bought this pen, it didn't include a refill. It would have been really cool to see what it had, but there was nothing in it. It was just the pen itself. It had been cleaned from the original owner. So I put in this Rotring refill I had lying around, just from a, something that came out of a Rotring 600 or something like that. And this is just the Rotring 600 ballpoint refill. One of the interesting things about this is because it has that back spring separating the lock here and the refill, it has a little bit of bounce, which is not really a big deal. It doesn't bother me. It probably means I could get a different type of refill in there, but this Pilot G2, this Parker G2 refill fit perfectly, so I just went with that. Originally, back in the day, did it use a G2 refill or something specialized? I really don't know, but that one fit, so I went with it. It probably did use a G2 style refill back in the day because it does fit in so well, but it is really hard to say. And it's not like there's any documentation on these things lying around. Anyway, I'm just geeking out about this pen now. I don't really have too much else to say. This is the vintage Pilot Hi-Tecpoint. Really good find. There's a few out there. If you search around on eBay or some other places, I think you could find one. They can be a little pricey, so I'd wait and don't spend like $150 on one. You could find them for less, but they are pretty rare and they are pretty cool. So anyway, that's the Hi-Tecpoint. Thanks for watching.